Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market, Pensacola. Hope you had a good 4th of July. We we had a little bit of an incident that day. We stayed home. We didn't go downtown. We had marinated some steaks, so I grilled out some steaks. We swam in the pool. Had Alexa playing, all kinds of music. Enjoyed time with family. And then I think I had told you last week that I bought a bunch of fireworks. I did. I probably spent, I don't know, $200 buying stuff just to blow up. Excuse me. But went out there, blew it all up. It was a great show. Neighbors come out and were kind of give us a clap because we were definitely blowing up. It was a good show. There was some good stuff. But, I mean, I think one of those boxes was like $82 for one thing. But it was 100 and some odd fireworks inside of that box. So, great show. Anyways, I thought, and listen closely, kids, I thought that we had put the water hose on all of the empty containers before I put them into the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority recycling bin. I thought wrong. After we finished blowing stuff up, is when I poured a few more cocktails, because I had poured one or two, but I didn't want to have a whole bunch before I go blowing stuff up. That's just not smart. But I had blown up. I had a couple more drinks later, and I was starting to kind of go to sleep when all of a sudden I hear my wife go, "Fire." Well, that wakes you up real quick. I look outside and my recycling bin is engulfed in flames. So my house is here. My trash can is here right beside the house, touching the house. Right beside the trash can is the recycling bin. And right here is my privacy fence. Okay, so it's wood, obviously. And so I go into the kitchen to try and grab, we have a pitcher that we just keep full of water. So if one of us walks by and sees the dog's water bowl empty, we'll pour it, then fill it back up. So it's all, I went trying to grab that, didn't see it. And I'm like, where is the godforsaken pitcher? And apparently my wife had already grabbed it. I didn't know that at the time. So the only thing I could grab that had any water in it was a cup that was probably that part of my Yeti full. And I go running outside and throw that on there. Like that's going to do anything. And just literally went, shh. That was it. It was done. It was over. Finally, I'd finished waking up now and realized the water hose was not far. So grabbed the water hose, doused it down. Very, very fortunate. It did not even, I don't even have scar marks on my fence. And although the flames were starting to maybe touch the ridge line to where it was the ease there, it didn't even scar that. So we were very fortunate, but something told me as I rolled that thing in to take the water hose and just douse it all again, almost, filled the thing up with water. And I kind of ignored that. I should not have ignored that. So we made for an interesting one. I know right now when I called ECUA Friday and asked them, hey, what do you want me to do with this? And, do I need to pay you for a can or whatever? Because it was my mistake. I made the mistake. They told me just to put it out beside the road and they'd come get it. Well, it's still out beside the road. Most of my neighbors have made comments to me going, man, that was a heck of a party. Look at that thing. And apparently some of the kids in either my neighborhood and even the neighborhood beside us have been walking by and my trash can's becoming Instagram famous, because it's pretty much melted. And I think somebody said they're seeing the picture with this is how hot Florida is, because it really is melted. So anyways, kids, douse the fireworks when you're done. Douse the fireworks when you're done. Luckily, very, very fortunately, there was no damage and nobody got hurt. Anyways, we had an interesting one. I'm not here to talk about just my 4th of July, though. I hope you had a good one, too. Let's talk about real estate. Let's go. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there. And don't need no permission. I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth? All right, so as I do every week when I talk about this, I try and get us a baseline. We'll jump down to the computer real quick. If we have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, that is considered a neutral market. It says, this is the general rule, home prices will only appreciate with inflation. We're not seeing that right now. It's kind of funny that general rule is not happening. It's 6 to 7 months we still see just a slight year-over-year appreciation. Less than 6 months worth of inventory is definitely a seller's market. The prices of homes are appreciating more quickly at that price points. Greater than 7 months becomes a buyer's market. We have seen some depreciate. I don't know if the value depreciated or if just the list price was too high and they had to come down. That's happening in some areas as well. Let's switch over and figure out which county we're going to start with. We will start with Santa Rosa County. All right, so in Santa Rosa County, this has been the case for a while now. Pretty much everything under 400,000 is a hyper seller's market. So over here on the right, if this is the first time you're watching the show, over here on the right is the that number of inventory. That's why I go through that to begin with. But pretty much everything under 400,000 is a hyper seller's market because that's under 3 months worth of inventory. You do see the 3 to 350 at 3.7. There's a lot of brand new builds that are listed active on the market for that. It's not really that house. They're just selling that floor plan. So it shows some there, especially in Santa Rosa County. Between 4 and 500, pretty much a seller's market. You can't quite be as aggressive with pricing, and you are going to definitely have to start differentiating. 5 to 550, 7.1 months, so you're creeping into buyer's market territory. You're right over that 7 month. 550 to 600, almost a year's worth of inventory. That changed a little bit. We had a few properties come on the market here in this price point, so that's changed just a little. 6 to 650, you drop back down to a buyers, but not a hyper buyers, and then that 650 to 700, man, that's over 2 years worth of inventory, and 700 plus, you're back to just a buyer's market, not necessarily a seller's market. So that's why I get aggravated. I know I've said this over and over again, but I get aggravated when I hear people ask an agent, hey, is it a buyer's market? Is it a seller's market? What is it? And they go, oh, it's an absolute seller's market. Well, if you look at this and that person that's asking that question has a $675,000 condo, you just give them misinformation. It is not a seller's market in Santa Rosa County at the $675,000 market. It is a buyer's market. And if you go trying to market a property with the wrong strategies because you got the wrong information, you're going to leave money on the table. So that's why it kind of aggravates me when I hear somebody say, hey, it's a buyer's market, it's a seller's market. It's both. It really depends on what you're asking me. I just need more information. I don't like, some people get aggravated at me going, hey, is it a buyer's market or a seller's market? I don't know. What are you looking at? What do you mean you don't know? You're the real estate guy. You don't even know if it's a buyer's market or a seller's market? It's both. What are you looking at? Give me more details and I can help advise you. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, let me click that button and click that button and click that button. And now we have switched over to Escambia County. So back down to the computer. Under 250 considered hyper sellers. And really, I would even say under 300, possibly even 350, because that's creeping up to right there, that 3 month mark. So we're going to say that. It's my podcast. I can say what I want to. Everything under 350 in Escambia County this week, coming off of the 4th of July holiday, when I tried to burn down the trash can, looks like it's going to be a hyper seller's market. If you got anything in that price point, and this is what's interesting. People always look at me and go, you say something about it being a hyper seller's market, but there are houses out there. I didn't say there wasn't houses out there. Let's make that clarification on this show. I'm not saying when it says there's a hyper seller's market that there's not houses out there. There are. As a matter of fact, if you look between 2 and 250 in Escambia County, there's 214 active properties. So it's not that I'm telling you there's not properties out there, but there's only 2.8 months worth of inventory because we also have 189 under contract, which means the buyer appetite for that price point is very strong. That's how this data works. It measures the appetite for a certain price point, base it off of what the price points also has as active. Hopefully that makes a little sense. So there are properties out there, 150 to 200 is 150 or 149 active properties. Okay. So we got that. As we go past 350, so 350 to 450, both of them 5.1 months worth of inventory. So that's funny. Pretty much 350 to 450, 5.1 months worth of inventory, 450 to 500. If you remember that pocket got crazy for a while in Escambia County. like really crazy. Like I remember a show we did where I want to say it was 12 or 13 months worth of inventory. It was a lot of money. It was just a weird pocket. But it looks like that pocket's starting to come back down. It's still considered a buyer's market, not quite a hyper buyer's market anymore. And let me make another clarification on this. If I say something's in a buyer's market or a hyper buyer's market, you still need to take a look at what in reality you should offer. There's nothing that says if I tell a buyer, hey, we can be a little more aggressive because this price point is actually in a buyer's market. And I tell a seller, hey, listen, it is a buyer's market for that price point. So you need to pay attention to this. If we get an offer that's somewhat decent, we need to talk about it. But I don't want to get it crazy. That 450 to 500 mark, we had a $500,000 property that I had listed, and we got an offer at 410. That's being too aggressive as a buyer, to the point where it agitated the seller. And he's like, I don't even want to respond. I don't even want to respond. That doesn't even dignify a response. So when I say you can be aggressive with your offers, don't get ridiculous with them. All right. This is not somebody trying to negotiate with the bank on a foreclosure in 2012 after they've run it through the auction 4 or 5 times. I've done that. I know how to negotiate like that. Been there. But these price points are not dictating that right now. 550 to 600, you got a hyper buyer's market. So you could be somewhat aggressive, not 20% aggressive. 600 to 650, you got 7.8 months worth of inventory. And that 650 to 700 mark, man, we're 21 months worth of inventory. 21 months worth of inventory. And then 700 plus 18.2 months worth of inventory. But again, I want you to look at the properties. There's still 100 properties out there. There's just 18 of them under contract right now. And if I were to guess, a lot of these were probably your condos, Perdido Key, out towards the beach and everything else. So that's where everything is. That's where it's at. Do me a favor. If I brought any value to you at all, if you got any value of this, even if it was just a chuckle from the story of me trying to blow stuff up and burn it down, hit like, hit comment, hit share. Follow the page if you saw it on Facebook. Subscribe if you saw it on YouTube. Just do those for me. All right. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else that I can put into this show that could bring value to you guys weekly. So let me know there if there is anything else that I can do. If there's any other questions that you'd like. Started looking at some of the national news here and looked at how it affected us locally. I may try and incorporate some of that in as well. But like, comment, share if I brought any value to you. And if you're considering anything, if you're considering a move next 12 months, you're just thinking about a move, shoot me a message, shoot me a comment. Let's catch up. Let's chat for a second. I've got some clients that are already talking to me about spring. We just got finished with 4th of July. They're talking about spring. And some military clients that are moving. They're talking to me about spring. I got a couple of investors that are saying, hey, we may want a 1031 exchange towards the end of the year. Well, excuse me. We may want a 1031 exchange towards the end of the year, but we want to make sure that we can capitalize. They become tax strategy conversations. I'm not an accountant, nor am I an attorney. So there may be sometimes that I need to bring a different expert in. But these are some tax strategies. The one I'm thinking about right now has about 6 single-family residences, and he's got his eye. He knows of a 18-unit apartment complex coming up. So he may want a 1031 exchange his equity from those into the apartment complex, which is just playing Monopoly. If you've read Robert Kiyosaki or if you've played Monopoly as a kid, you traded 4 greenhouses for 1 red hotel. That's all he's doing, which is just following the plan that we set up for him years ago. Anyways, so if you are considering any move, whether it be investment, buying for the first time, selling a property, give me a shout. Shoot me a message. Let's touch base. Thanks for watching. Oh, man, I got to go deal with ECUA. Have a great week. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there and don't need no permission. I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth?